The next chapter is about to begin. Join us live every Tuesday and Thursday for brand new episodes of the American Contractor Show. Our mission is to bring you the latest tools, innovations, and knowledge to help you become the most informed contractor in your market. Knowledge is the ultimate power, and we are connecting you with the most knowledgeable minds in our industry. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. American Contractors, I hope you're ready. This one's for you.
This is Larry Bache with the Model Law Group, helping policyholders for more than 30 years. If you have a claim or your client has a claim that needs help, please feel free to call the Model Law Group because we are the true policyholder advocate.
C3 was eager to help us, and even whenever we weren't giving them work, they were still eager to give advice. The things that they were putting out for the changing from DMO to RFG and giving that to the industry and not charging anything for it, I thought was really cool. And that's stuff that I, as a contractor, appreciate. I'd recommend C3 to any contractor that's looking for a PA, especially if you're around Colorado. Great guys, man. I'm nothing but happy with the work they've done for us.
Good Friday afternoon, everyone. Lead meteorologist Sean Choquette here for our daily hail forecast. But honestly, it's going to be much more of a tropical forecast than a hail forecast. Thanks to our sponsors, as always, C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, and our Supplement and Balance Claims. You can check out the American Contractor Show, hosted by Balance Claims and our Supplement's own John Dye. I think it's once a week or something like that. I don't actually know the timing of it, but you can check all that out in the description below if you're watching us here on our Hail Trace Facebook page. So we're going to jump right into those weather headlines, and yes, there is a chance for some hail today. It's going to be in New Mexico and parts of the northern plains. After that, the weekend looks pretty quiet for hail. However, we're going to be talking about Hurricane Isaias. It's taking aim at the United States, possibly. We're going to kind of break that down for you. We're going to actually get out of the slideshow that I typically have and kind of just look at some models and see how things are evolving over the course of the next couple days, as it looks like somewhere in the U.S. is going to get some activity from Isaiah. So we're going to talk about that. And since, unfortunately, Derek is on vacation right now, we're not going to be able to go chase it. So might as well break down videos instead. So for your last day of July here, it looks like my animation timing is all off, but that's okay. 3 different areas at risk for some hail, the most significant of which in terms of size is going to be here in New Mexico, most likely to the east of the mountain range that divides Albuquerque from eastern New Mexico. Could be some golf ball size hail there, and otherwise low-end chances for Albuquerque and for Roswell. A lot of desert in this area that's at risk, probably not too many impacting cities. Same story, smaller hail for parts of Montana. Could see some $1.25 size hail, and then as well over by the Fargo area and parts of North Dakota. Again, low-end chances, a couple storms here or there could make some hail, otherwise not really that huge of a risk. Looking at future radar, starting off here in the southern plains, showing New Mexico. See those storms forming this afternoon after about 4 o'clock or so, and moving north to south. Likely, again, maybe some golf balls in those biggest storms, but overall the coverage area is not super great, and the area at risk doesn't have a lot of people in it, so it's not a crazy risk. And then shifting off to the north here in eastern Montana, see a couple storms forming this afternoon, and then later on this evening after about 8 o'clock or so, that's when the storms like Fargo are going to form again. Nothing too crazy, looking more like some isolated storms, maybe getting up to quarter-size hail for the most part, maybe some gusty winds, heavy rain, lots of lightning. Nothing too wild for the hail sizes. And then tomorrow, no severe hail is expected anywhere in the country as of right now. There could be a marginal risk, possibly in the east for tomorrow afternoon, but it's looking pretty quiet for that first day of August, which leads us to Hurricane Isaias. That was an upgrade last night, I believe, at the 11 p.m. update, and continuing to update every few hours here. This is what it looks like right now. Not the prettiest looking hurricane, not going to lie, and it looks like we're going to maintain a Category 1 strength, as it's going to get very close to the Florida coast here, and then likely impact somewhere between Myrtle Beach and the Outer Banks before popping back out into the Atlantic and becoming extra tropical and probably falling apart as it gets close towards the northeast. As of right now, 75-mile-per-hour winds, moving northwest 16 miles an hour. That's a pretty good clip for a hurricane. And again, looking like we're going to see possible impacts here across Florida on Saturday evening, which is just tomorrow. So it's going to be moving a pretty good clip here. Hurricane watch is in effect pretty much from Daytona Beach south through Miami. So we're going to kind of break away from this and go look at the models, kind of see what we're expecting, see what my personal opinion is with this hurricane. And so let's just jump right into it, guys. So this is the Spaghetti Models page. It's nice for all the weather nerds, especially hurricane nerds. This is a good site to check out. There is a ton of info on here. I think we already have some stuff already open. So this is what the spaghetti models are, I guess, where this is all of the computer data, all the various models, the European model, American model, all the tropical models, all together here, and then the National Weather Service, the National Hurricane Center's track. Is this the most recent update? Yes. So this has the main focus kind of just getting really close to the coast and then impacting somewhere across the Carolinas. I think there's a big change. There's been a lot of flip-flopping a couple days ago. We had it in the Gulf, Florida, and then really east. We kind of shifted it a little further west again. So when we look at it more just with one particular model, this is the American model, GFS. This is the most recent run. You can see the hurricane. Let me just kind of shift it south. There we go. Pushing it here, you can see it gets real close to the coast. There's the center of the hurricane. Never actually gets on shore with this particular, oh no, it does, right there, just south of Cocoa Beach. That's where it looks like it's trying to come on shore, scraping the coast, and then coming off and then impacting, well, this would be a pretty good impact for wind and storm surge for Wilmington and parts of Myrtle Beach, and then off to the north where it'll kind of calm down quite a bit. So this is the most recent American model run. These aren't exactly the tropical models, these are the overall models we look at. One thing that's interesting, if we roll it back to last night's run, where this particular model showed, what this particular model showed, assuming you can actually load up for me here, is the most recent update. Is it really looks like it's shifting much further to the west than what we had yesterday evening. Hang on. The internet's going a little slow, guys. Can't get everything on here. Come on. There we go. So you see from yesterday evening, it had a stronger hurricane, stayed over the water longer, but it stayed far enough off the coast, pretty much probably about equivalent off the coast as about Hurricane Dorian. So Dorian stayed far enough off coast where no real hurricane force winds were even really impacting Florida, and then this would have actually brought it almost identical to Hurricane Dorian's path, where it stayed off the coast of Myrtle Beach and whatnot, and then even missing Wilmington, and then going up into the Outer Banks. That's obviously one possibility, but things have shifted further to the west, so that does bring places like Florida into more play here. And this is the European model run. Let's see what this one is bringing up for you guys. Assuming it loads up, it's going pretty slow. So while that loads up, we can talk about other current information. Intensity in terms of how strong all the computer models are thinking with this. It basically comes down to how much water it stays over. Right now it's over some nice, there's low shear, which you want shear for tornadoes, you don't want it for hurricanes. So everything's favorable except for how much land interaction it has. If it kind of goes over all of the Bahamian Islands, it's not going to get much stronger. Looks like we're kind of flirting with that Category 1 status. A lot of the models are kind of underdoing it, and they've already been proven wrong as it's already a hurricane. So I would not expect it to go back down tropical storm. I think it's going to kind of hang out in the Category 1, maybe if things really explode and there's rapid intensification, which is very hard to forecast. It could get up to 2, but I'm really thinking it's going to kind of hang out in that Category 1 area. So Hurricane Hannah, for example, that was a high-end Category 1, 90-mile-per-hour winds. This would be somewhere between where it is now and maybe there. So 75, 90 for your maximum strength, and that's if it gets close to the coast. Now, the other thing, too, with the east coast of Florida, and this is where some of my opinions come in here, is the east coast of Florida is going to be on the wrong side of this storm in terms of where you're going to get that strongest wind. You don't want an onshore, offshore flow, offshore wind, so you're coming from the land and going off the coast because the wind's going to be blowing like this. That's going to really minimize your wind, so you're not going to get your peak winds. You'll get the peak winds over here, assuming that the European model is right, it actually scrapes along the coast. Now, the amount of times that happens is less, it doesn't happen as often as you'd think it would, but so I'm thinking we're either going to, I don't think we're going to get a direct hit in South Florida. I think what will most likely end up happening is this is going to wobble back and forth, this forecast is going to wobble back and forth over the next 24 hours, and where it is at noon tomorrow, noon Central Time tomorrow, will determine, are we going to scrape the coast, or are we going to kind of go a little bit off the coast and all the hurricane force winds stays away from Florida. So we'll be watching this super carefully. Personal opinion, I've seen this time and time again my whole life. Chances are we're going to stay just far enough off the coast where I think a lot of Florida will not really major impacts in terms of strong winds. Yes, there will likely be maybe a little bit of coastal flooding, definitely some crazy surf, and a fair amount of rain. I don't even think a ton of rain. The way the hurricane is right now, it's very lopsided to this part of the storm. So over here, there isn't as much rain, so I don't even think flooding rain would be a huge issue right now. Again, this can change very quickly, of course, but I think Florida may not see crazy impacts. Now, further to the north, up into the Carolinas, different story. I think somewhere between Myrtle Beach and the Outer Banks, you will see a landfall impact here from Isaias. Again, Category 1, if it gets closer to the coast, obviously, it will be weaker. It'll impact the Florida Peninsula and start to fall apart as it moves north. But if it does stay off the coast, it could be a higher end Category 1, and it's really going to get cranking once it gets up towards North Carolina, once it gets picked up by another disturbance that's coming in from the Midwest. That'll launch it away from the coast and probably give just some rain and high surf across the Northeast. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now for Hurricane Isaias. I'm thinking what'll end up happening is, and it'll get tantalizingly close to Florida unless things change drastically. I think this time tomorrow we might do another maybe just at-home update for this hurricane here for the Florida coast. I know a lot of folks care about Florida. So I think it's going to likely hit into the Carolinas here, areas like Wilmington, maybe even as far south as Myrtle Beach. And then if not either of these, it'll be out in the Outer Banks. But I think North Carolina and South Carolina might have a little bit more to worry about in terms of a direct landfalling impact. Florida, possibly a glancing blow. It's going to be close, so we'll give you guys an update probably tomorrow and see, hey, maybe this shifts a little bit further. Just a tiny 30-mile shift to the west would mean this could pop into like West Palm Beach. So we'll keep an eye on that for you guys. It could also strengthen like crazy. Hannah did that coming on shore. The models have had some difficulties so far this year with intensity of storms. We have a very small sample size. There have been a lot of storms that really take off, but it is something to keep an eye on here. The American model has really been underdoing it. The European model is a little more on the nose here in terms of the strength of the storm, but again, I'm really anticipating it's probably going to be a little bit further to the east than what we're seeing right now. So that's our opinions for the moment. Hurricane Isaias, keep a close eye, especially in Florida. You got that hurricane watch. I think North and South Carolina, a better chance for those storms. So going back into it here, we will have more updates for you guys. Again, possibly through the rest of the day today. There'll be another major update by the National Hurricane Center at about 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So we'll probably post that on our Hail Trace page. So follow our Facebook. Make sure you don't miss that. Search at Hail Trace, hit see first, so you can get all the updates on Hurricane Isaias, especially since we will not be chasing this one. We got, unfortunately, folks on vacation. But normally, if you stream them on our YouTube channel, we will do live streams from wherever the storm happens. Don't be scared. I think the hurricane will be nowhere near as intense as maybe other storms that have happened in the past. And give us a call, 855-334-4245. Any comments, questions, or concerns, need a training, first time here at Hail Trace, whatever it may be. It's a great number to call. You can email us as well if you're not a fan of talking on the phone, info@hailtrace.com, or visit our website at hailtrace.com for, of course, more details about us. we'll talk again a little bit later. I would likely have some kind of probably just at home, at my desk, just kind of forecast discussion tomorrow, since it looks like that's when we're going to be getting close to the Florida coast here for Hurricane Isaias. Of course, we will have a map for it if it warrants it, if it's strong enough to make a map. And yeah, we'll probably continue doing posts for the rest of the day, so keep an eye out on your social media platforms for that. Have a great day. We'll talk to you again later.